Have you ever met a girl with such bizarre hobbies? She uses her beauty to seduce a 19-year-old boy, then strips naked and invites him to swim in the sea. She even sits on his lap to teach him how to fight battles. In fact, she was hired by the boy's own parents, who paid her to help their son become more mature before starting college. Maddie, who worked as a bartender and part-time Uber driver, had an unlucky day when a tow truck driver took her car away. She later found out it was because of unpaid property taxes she inherited from her parents. If she didn't pay soon, even her house would be seized. Maddie pleaded to keep her car for work, but the officer ignored her and towed it away. With no choice, she roller skated to work, complaining about life's cruelty. Suddenly, she spotted her car parked near a diner. She sneaked into the cabin, intending to steal it back, but it was chained to a crane. The operator pressed a button, lifting both Maddie and the car. She ended up detained at the police station but was bailed out by a friend. Still fuming, she arrived at work, only to encounter an annoying customer who tossed her a $20 bill, demanding special service. Wrong move. Maddie confiscated the money and told him to get lost. Her manager scolded her, but with her home about to be taken away, Maddie had nothing left to fear. At that moment, her best friend found a strange job listing. A wealthy family wanted a grown woman to date their introverted teenage son, ensuring he experienced real life before college. The payment? A car. At first, Maddie thought it was a scam, but desperate to save her late mother's house, she decided to try. She dolled herself up to look 18 and went to the meeting, sweating along the steep road. When she saw the promised car, she knew she couldn't pass up the deal. The parents, the Allisons, weren't happy when they found out Maddie was 32, since they wanted someone younger. But with her persuasion skills and alluring looks, she eventually won them over. Maddie officially became the cougar, dressing in a seductive pink mini dress, and headed to the pet shop where Percy, the shy boy, worked. Striking provocative poses, she asked him to help her adopt a dog. Nervous but polite, Percy introduced her to a police dog. To lure him in, Maddie suggested finding a private room. Inside, she tried every trick, posing seductively, leaning close, and even shoving her chest in front of him. But Percy kept his eyes glued to the computer screen. She finally slammed the laptop shut, trying to change the subject. But the innocent boy misread the situation and simply promised to send her more dog options tomorrow. Running out of patience, Maddie invited him straight to her place, practically serving herself on a silver platter. Still, Percy hesitated, clinging to his bicycle. Frustrated, Maddie tossed the bike into her car and teased that he was now her hostage. Gullible Percy believed her and texted 911. Before she could explain, he sprayed pepper spray in her face, twice, accusing her of being a kidnapper. She yelled back that he was 19, so why not think about sleeping with her instead? Realizing his mistake, Percy tried to help wash her eyes with a garden hose, but the water pressure only made it worse. Maddie managed to rinse off the pepper spray, ending up soaked and revealing her curvy figure. Emboldened, Percy finally asked her out, though her eyes still stung. She agreed. After all, that was her mission. Their first date took place at a bar, where Percy showed up in a ridiculous outfit, blazer with shorts. Maddie cringed but played along for the sake of the car. Suddenly, Maddie's ex showed up, bragging about his wealthy new wife. Maddie shot back, calling him a gold digger, leaving him embarrassed and storming off. Later, Maddie led Percy to a secluded beach. To ease his shyness, she stripped naked and jumped into the water. Percy quickly followed, thrilled by the intimacy. Just as things heated up, 3 drugged-out guys appeared, stole their clothes, and started taunting them. Furious, Maddie stormed out of the water, completely naked, and single-handedly beat the thugs into retreat. Afterwards, she slipped back into the water, making sure Percy didn't lose the mood. But Percy suddenly turned around and scolded her, saying she shouldn't have used violence against those guys. According to him, he should have been the one to go ashore and protect his girlfriend. His words hurt Maddie, so she stormed off, leaving him behind. Realizing his mistake, Percy chased after her to apologize. But she ignored him. The result? Percy ended up completely naked, lying on the hood of her car as she drove away. Maddie planned to wait for him at his house, but a police car spotted her speeding. To make matters worse, a train was about to pass by. With no choice, Maddie shut her eyes, floored the gas, and barely outran both the train and the police. Otherwise she would have been facing years in jail. Back at the house, she lit candles to set a romantic mood, swayed her body invitingly, and even carried Percy onto her lap to let him feel her warmth. She straightforwardly invited him to bake potatoes in her broken oven. Percy was extremely aroused, but his nerves caused an allergic rash all over his body. In the end, they agreed to keep dating and work on curing his fear of women. In the following days, Maddie and Percy played with dogs, battled in video games, and even competed in a basketball shooting contest with a kid, before being kicked out by the arcade's security guard. Not long after, Percy experienced his very first kiss. Drenched in passion, gaining confidence, he boldly invited Maddie to a 5-star dinner, picking her up in a luxury car. For the first time, Percy truly enjoyed dating. He confessed that in the past he was terrified of people noticing his weaknesses. Maddie reassured him, saying everyone has strengths, and the important thing is to show them. She noticed a piano in the restaurant and encouraged Percy to perform. Inspired by love, he agreed, confidently playing while singing. His unexpectedly sweet voice stunned the audience, who erupted in applause. That performance caught the attention of one of his classmates, who immediately invited him to a so-called teen party. Maddie tried to stop him, but Percy thought she was being unsocial and went without her. Worried, Maddie reluctantly followed, only to discover it wasn't an innocent teen party. Asking around, she learned Percy had been lured upstairs. After searching room by room, she finally found him drugged and disoriented. The girl admitted she had spiked Percy's drink. Maddie dragged him into a bathroom, desperately trying to flush the drugs out. Just then, the host appeared, ordering Maddie to leave since she didn't belong there. Percy stumbled out, attempting to defend her, but ended up punching Maddie by mistake. On the way home, Percy pulled out a pack of condoms and confessed his love, saying he wanted to sleep with her immediately. Touched but guilty, Maddie declined, saying he was too intoxicated. The next morning, Percy told his parents he wanted to learn how to drive so he could take his mom out. They were thrilled that he was overcoming his social anxiety, until he added that he wanted to study locally to spend more time with his new girlfriend. Fearing their son was too obsessed with this staged romance, the Allisons called Maddie and asked her to end the contract. Maddie, of course, was still rewarded with the promised car. Unfortunately, Percy overheard the entire phone call through the car's Bluetooth system. Heartbroken, he realized Maddie had only approached him for money. Pretending nothing happened, Percy invited Maddie to dinner. While everyone was chatting happily, he slipped away, gathered his friends from the pet shop, and destroyed the car in the woods. Silent and furious, he returned to his room. Maddie, unaware, followed him in and tried to kiss him, but he pushed her away, treating her coldly. Feeling humiliated, she agreed to his sudden request for intimacy, thinking of it as finishing the contract. But being a nervous first-timer, Percy lasted barely 10 seconds before giving up. Finally, Percy admitted he knew the truth. His parents had hired Maddie. That's why he destroyed the car. Maddie didn't get angry. She apologized for deceiving him and left. Devastated, Percy confronted his parents, demanding they stop interfering in his life. Soon, he withdrew again into isolation, spending his days gaming. Meanwhile, the Allisons repaired the car and gave it to Maddie. She paid off her debts and returned to her routine. But guilt about Percy lingered. She sought him out again. But no matter what she did, Percy ignored her. Even when she jumped onto his car, he coldly biked away. Maddie's car caught fire in an accident, forcing it into the sea and throwing her out. Percy rushed to her side, carrying her to safety and crying in her arms. Their conflict was finally resolved, They agreed to remain friends. On Percy's first day of college, Maddie came to see him off, promising she would wait for him at school. By then, she had sold her late mother's house and decided to start a new life in California. And that's how the movie ends. The only question left is, if you were Percy, how would you feel?